they blew a stack. They
Yep.
started to sue us. Of course, sue me all you want, because all I got is a nickel and some girlfriends that feed me. So, you know, and then I was just asked by the president of the United States out of the blue to write a book on conservation. And this was President Nixon. I can see immediately, before I sketch or draw, I see the fifth dimension and work backwards. When I designed this house, I simply said I had a metaphor of seeing a tree come out of a rock, because there's a tree here coming out of a rock. So this is my treehouse of rock. Thank you. And I coined this word called passive solar in 1978, sorry. And I built my thesis, and a developer built it, and we sold 10 passive solar houses.
Welcome to TALKdesign Podcast, the space where creativity meets conversation. I'm Adrian Ramsey, your host, and as someone deeply entrenched in the world of design, I'm thrilled to introduce you to the minds that inspire me, and the hope that they will spark something special within you too. From a design past crafting women's swimwear to pushing the boundaries of performance sportswear, from mountaineering to international yachting to implementing systematic innovation solutions that transcend boundaries in aerospace industry, my heart remains rooted in architecture and exploring the emotional tapestry woven by built spaces is my fascination. My journey in design has been what can only be described as a life of design. I want to thank you for lending me your ears. I'm eager to embark on this next episode together. My guest on Talk Design today is Travis Price. Now, Travis, with a tip of the hat, Travis is a Washington, D.C. based architect. Now, that would be an understatement to say that's where he's based. He's based in America would be the best place to say he's based, because his work spans everywhere. They've won tons of awards. They are well known for the things that we're going to unwrap in this podcast. And when we talk about, a spirit of place, this is like a key phrase and a key understanding that Travis works from. And so we're going to dig into all that. You may have already listened, if you're a listener, you may have already listened to Kelly Grace, who is the non-toxic architect. She works with Travis, and that is how I got to meet Travis, which was a real honor. And I think that we should just, instead of telling everybody all the amazing things you've done, they can listen along and they can discover all the amazing things that you've done, and how your architecture affects place and people is the piece that lights my heart up. So Travis, welcome to the show.
Thank you. That was nice. I'm glad to be here and happy to be here. And I don't even know where to begin. As I mentioned, I grew up as a little Georgia boy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, let's kick into that. Like, for some reason, this kid from Georgia ended up an architect. So what happened? Where did you start out? Where were you born? And, where did you spend those formative years?
Yeah, I was born in Augusta, Georgia, and grew up in a little town called Hinesville, which is 30 miles from Savannah. And my father was a farmer, but he was in the military in 3 world wars. And my mother was a Greek immigrant's child. And we lived there, but it was through those early years that I really understood what it's like to lie under pine trees and hear the whisper of the ghosts, And of course I spoke y'all to everyone. That would be natural and very important if you're down there, if you want to make good friends. But we were suddenly taken to Panama. So when I was 12, 13, we moved to Panama, to the Panama Canal Zone Way.
Right.
So my accent went to Hachaduingboy and Jamaica man. And so we but it was great. I saw so much there in the jungles, and it's rainforest. And I love to build tree houses.
Yeah,
It was
wow.
a passion in Georgia. I made one, and then I made one there. So, but I grew up there and didn't want to leave as usual. But after 4 years, we did, and I had my first black belt in judo, which I love. I love martial arts.
I
And
want to dig into the martial arts in a minute, but we're going to come back to
okay,
that. Yeah, yeah.
but we went. So we went back to Georgia briefly and ended up in Heidelberg, Germany, for several years, where I
Oh,
graduated
really?
high school. Ja,
Yeah,
ja, das ist gut, ja.
yeah.
And
Das ist gut. Sehr gut.
das ist gut, ja. Machen Sie Liebe und kein Krieg.
Yeah,
It
you
means
lost me there.
make love, not war.
Oh, okay, perfect. Well,
The hippie con.
Heidelberg
Yeah,
would have to be one of the most beautiful, towns in that part of
yeah,
Germany, without a doubt. I've been many times, and
yeah.
it's one of those places that whenever I'm in Germany and if I'm driving south towards Italy, I always
Yeah.
go through Heidelberg and just
It's where
spend time to walk.
Goethe, the famous philosopher, was. We used to walk out of the high school. We'd walk up Goethe's trail and talk about philosophy, and for 11th and 12th grade, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But so it's a big difference between Georgia. But I think I saw so many things. Berlin when it was still frozen, and all these things, but all along I just kept looking at architecture, building and building. This was just, I got a passion for it. I even fixed up a little motorcycle for nothing, $180 or something, and drove all the way to Morocco and back when I was 17 in a summer run. That was 5 weeks of seeing, France, of course,
Everything.
but Spain, oh my God. And to see what Gaudi was doing, my jaw
Yeah.
dropped when I turned the corner. And I just, architecture is all about stories, and what he did is amazing stories. And then the Moroccans were awesome, though. I can't tell you some of the things I smuggled back to America, but
The Department of Homeland Security, if you're listening in,
all I was knowing. Well, I could tell you a very, very, very funny story, because my dad was head of military police, so I was able to get through a lot of trouble.
Do it.
Oh God! Well, that was when marijuana was legal, and I didn't know what it was. I never tried until I got down to Morocco.
Yeah,
And,
right.
and so I said, I'll take some of this home, and because I'm going out to Georgia Tech to start my architecture, and luckily I got through the gate just in time, and luckily I got into America, because I was in an American airplane with all the other kids heading back to the States for their colleges from Europe.
And you're loaded up with hashish or something.
I'm loaded up with it in my bag, and I'm telling this girl, charming girl next to me, being Mr. Macho, and suddenly, I swear to God, a Jeep of 4 military police pull up to the plane after it lands. It's not even pulled in. And they come on and say, "Would Travis Price please come forward?" And I went, "Oh, shy." And she grabbed me. Well, my father was the head of the military police in Europe, so he was just having them pick me up and my bag and take me to my next plane.
So you were just landing to go to somewhere else.
Yeah. Life is, it's like a Russian guy I ran into and traded him some pot for a swastika, not a swastika, but a hand cycle on his head in Germany. I'm always sort of stepping off the cliff, and somehow the net appears. And
what a charm!
Those are stories.
Life.
But the beauty of course, Europe was architecture. I mean, the best, in terms of creativity and history. And I started my architecture run in Georgia Tech. I wanted to go other places, but I always started there, and I wrote poems. And the book, the first poem, Victory, and I love poetry and philosophy. And then I heard about this little place called St. John's College, School of Knowledge. It's in Annapolis. It's the second oldest campus in America. Wow. And even George Washington people stood on it. And it only allows 500 students, and you read all of the 100 great books in 4 years, and have only seminars, no tests. And it's rough. And they have a sister campus in Santa Fe, which I went to one summer thinking I'd come back, and I didn't leave New Mexico for 6 years. I learned so much, and then I finished studying architecture with some amazing characters in Albuquerque and Santa Fe. And I coined this word called passive solar in 1978, sorry. And I built my thesis, and a developer built it, and we sold 10 passive solar houses. And I, as usual, I was starting a whole new evolution of ecology, natural stuff, and studying all kinds of religions and studying cultures, especially Native American and the Hopi country. I spent time out with the Hopis, and the architecture just started evolving around those people and their spirits. And then I was just asked by the president of the United States out of the blue to write a book on conservation. And this was President Nixon. Most people don't realize that the Republicans actually started the environmental movement.
Wow.
I
can't get my words out. So
yeah.
when you get asked to write a book like that by the president, what happens? You don't have a cell phone. You don't probably even have a landline because you're a hippie. A hippie enough. How do you get
I am
approached?
some hippie.
Yeah, I get that. So,
I'm just being, humor.
So what happens? How do you get approached when the president wants you to do something? What?
Well, it's funny. I went up to Denver one day in Santa Fe, and there was a big group of engineering meetings, and there was an issue talking about energy. I don't know why or what, but I went to go to it, and it was part of the AIA, American Institute of Architects, put all this on. And I went in there, and this guy came into, as an engineer from New York City, and he said he had been asked to find an architect and write a book, a study book on how to do energy saving architecture.
Right.
What do you do? I mean, much like the cleaning out, like Kelly's working on, I was involved in how do you insulate? How do you do all this? Because we built some really wild projects down in Santa Fe. We built a dome that was completely off grid. PV cells that we stole from the Los Alamos lab trash cans because my friend's father worked there. I mean, this was a military thing, by the PV cells. They've been around from the United States military for a long time, because that's what you need out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So anyway, but what got to me was go there, and he said, come to New York City, we'll pay everything, you're going to stay here. I had a friend there, I stayed, in his house, and I wrote this book in 6 months. And then I thought, God, this is a big city. I got to walk around more. And I went to the ghettos of the Lower East Side, called Lower East Side, which is Puerto Rican, and used to be everybody else. And then the Bronx and and up, 96 was the
boundary.
The boundary of, but I walked right up because I lived in Panama. Everybody seemed normal to me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're just
yeah.
And, you felt safe in there.
And you're safe if you feel good. You're safe anywhere.
Yeah.
Fear is what draws in your problem. So anyway, we built. I met all these people in ghettos living on the streets. There was a building an hour. 5 stories with 10 apartments being burnt to the ground for an entire year in all of New York City. It was horrendous then. And the city was really in trouble. And it was all about, I found out later, it was Puerto Rican mafia, not Italians, who were buying the buildings, getting insurance policies on them, and then burning
them down.
Yeah, and then they get the load. And so anyway, we got a hold of one. We got a grant from Washington through some people to start up with $10,000, and we brought in all the products and taught people how to build it. The people were from street people, and by the time we were done in a couple of years, everybody had their own new apartment plus a job. They knew what to do. Yeah, and then I said, well, wait a minute. We need to have solar hot water here. They said, what the hell are you talking about? And so I got a friend that was starting making them up at Princeton University. And we came down, we put it on the roof. We got a grant. to buy the material for about 30 grand and do it.
Mhm.
And we built the first solar hot water heaters in any city in the world, 519 East 11th Street. And then I said, you know what? It's a year later. We're all finishing out. We need electricity. I know where there's some old beat up wind machines from Kentucky. And we pulled one in. We got it up on the roof, like 50 feet above 50 feet. It's pretty scary. But we got a tower up. We got just enough, and we got it rolling, and we turned the meter backwards. This was great fun. We did it, but then the utility company,
Yeah, they wouldn't be happy.
they blew a stack. They
Yep.
started to sue us. Of course, sue me all you want, because all I got is a nickel and some girlfriends that feed me. So, you know, but the funniest part was I got a hold of the mayor and other people, and they all were behind us. And I went down to DC and met some people in Congress and testified on, co-generating power. And we went all the way to the Supreme Court, and we won. We're just a bunch of scab heads that won the case. And then it exploded. And I was about done. I trained 20 more people to help other people in the ghettos and stuff doing the same thing. And there's been a lot of repetition because I had to go on the next trail. You see, I'm a trailer. If I do it once,
right.
I move to the next pattern. And I was down in DC working at the AIA just to get some money, American Institute of Architects.
Mm-hmm.
I met this guy. I was with Bob Redford and his wife, and they introduced me to this Jewish guy, amazing guy in DC at the Ford Foundation. And he said, I'm now the head of the Tennessee Valley Authority, the biggest utility company in America, 7 states. And we are doing water walls. We're doing all this stuff. I want you to come down here. And I want you, he called me on the phone with Jimmy Carter. He was sitting with Jimmy Carter as president. And I said, I'm going to put, I'll quit. I'll be down in 2 days. And he said, and he said, you better get here because we're going to fucking solarize the whole goddamn valley, which is 7 states. Wow. And I got there within 2 days. I had a movie set up with Bob Redford about it. And then Shorty, and then we got going, and we put up almost 100,000 solar hot water heaters starting in Memphis. The first 1,000 were in Memphis, training unemployed Black kids how to install with plumbers who were officials.
Yeah.
And a lot of stories I could tell about it, but basically we got all that done. And that's when he asked me to design the headquarters for the utility companies, which is atomic, nuclear, it's everything, oil, for all the staff. And it was 1.3 million square feet. It's still there today. And it's a completely off-gridded, giant building that is passive solar with light beaming and shooting through it. So that was, that's what was finished. I got married, and then I saddled up with the baby, and I was ready to move. And we decided to be halfway between New Hampshire and Georgia because she was from New Hampshire. Uh-huh. And we moved to Washington, D.C.
Yeah, wow. I want to go back. I want to go back on a whole bunch of pieces. There's a whole bunch in there that that I'm like, oh yeah, well, what about this or what about this? Because there's so much depth in the making of the stories that I'm like, okay, where does this bit work and where does this bit work? Also, I want to check. When I pushed record before, did it tell us we were recording? Because my settings look different on my computer. I want to push this and just see what happens.
Sure.
And then, what does it say? It says, no, we are recording. Okay.
Thank God.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's, with all podcasting is, I want the story the first time. I want to be in discovery, totally in curiosity. But things I want to jump back to are, first of all, the Hopi Indians. And this isn't going to be in a really good order. This is just going to be how it comes. The Hopi Indians. So you're out in the desert in the Santa Fe area. And how much of a hippie are you at this point?
Well,
I mean, you're a full-blown hippie now, but you're living in a house. But
well,
how
not
much of a
really.
hippie
I
were
mean,
you?
Donald Trump and I get along very well, but no, so anyway, no, I think at that time it was different kind of. It was hippie, and there were hippie dippies that went off and just were trashy,
Yeah,
and then
sure.
there were people who really were looking into the other world, the fourth dimension.
Yeah.
It wasn't really about drugs so much. That was one way of looking at it, but it was really opening up your mind to so
Mm-hmm.
many things. And so for me, it's St. Johnny's studying the great books and other people when it was
Right.
wild for them. That
Right.
was just how I lived. And I would I would stay at Catholic monasteries out in the mountains for 2 days. I lived in a Kundalini ashram for 2 years in
Yeah.
Santa Fe.
Yeah,
So
right.
I learned a lot. And then I learned a lot from Native American because
They
it's
live
so
with the
powerful
land.
when you get out to some of the dances and some of the other
Mm-hmm.
stuff. We went to the Hopi. There were only six white folk, crazies like us that were allowed to go. Some were 70 years old. So I was, of course, 21 or something. But we went to a dance that lasted 7 days and 7 nights out on a village on cliffs all side. I mean, I saw things there of the Hopi, the gods coming out of the sky. Everybody saw it at the same time. It was not. There
It
was
wasn't
no
just you.
hallucination.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, 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 no. It was spirit. I mean, one of the things I'll talk about most about work today and everything is you got to realize, like, I live in a house that's completely held up by friction and gravity. And I tell people, so do you don't believe there's a God or a spirit world? Would you show me some, would you show me some gravity and friction, please?
Yeah, right.
And you suddenly realize, whoa, everything in science most of what we know is invisible. And
So,
that gets you into the hippie world because the hippie world was all about looking for the spirit world in
mhm.
different styles, other than, let's say, a Southern Baptist or a Catholic or whatever, or
Mm.
an Israeli.
You
I,
you you said really early on, you said, as a kid in Georgia and lying under the trees and the ghosts, the tree ghosts, the way the wind moves through it, the way that they feel. I grew up in a little place called Lower Hutt, in a suburb within Lower Hutt in Belmont in New Zealand, and we were surrounded by. I had a creek in my backyard. We had lots of farmland and groves of pine trees and things like that. And I grew up with this similar thing of lying under trees and listening to the stories of the wind through them and that scent of especially pines. But it wasn't that we had lots of pines where I was. We did have a big grove, but it wasn't like we had more bushland, New Zealand bushland. Um,
right.
but but just a kind of like you're lying on your back staring up, and you know you kind of got this connection with the land at that point, and some people would just call it grounding. I think it goes
Mhm.
deeper, but because I've got like ADHD and it was such a calming experience. It was such an experience where I can feel it in my body to this day.
Yeah.
That feeling of
Yeah.
lying there and then watching the specks and particles of dust and the light move through the trees in a certain way and the feeling of just being a part of it. It was like it would just slow me right down, slow the monkey, down so that the monkey could just relax into it. And when you said it, I'm like, oh yeah, I totally get that feeling. And as a little kid, you had that feeling, which most little kids probably do.
Hmm.
But then your life has been about, I'm going to say not your whole life, but a part of your life has been about chasing that feeling or immersing yourself in experiences that put you deep into that. Like you're just saying with the Hopi Indians, 7 days of dance and like totally connective thing, and then you say, oh, and then the gods come down out of the sky, and it's like, what does it take to shift the human spirit into that one spirit, like into that one place? And something I liken it to is, so I surf, but I'm happy to body surf. And it's not that I'm the biggest fan of the sea, but when you're in the sea, the makeup of your human body and the makeup of the water in the sea are transmuting. You're swapping particles. Your skin is blending with the sea. You're getting it. It's not just its mineral particles, but you're getting its physical energy at the same time. And the land does
And
the same thing.
that wave is your spirit world.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what people don't realize. You came out of the spirit world, you're here, but you're still very much in it, and you'll go back to it, no matter what your religion or thinking is. There is no beginning or end. There is no linear time, because if there was, it would be a straight line. There is no such thing, because the big gun, they call it. I mean, somebody had to have a big gun to make a big move, and something had to happen before that and after. So you got to get away from. There are important things about rational, and they're not non-rational is just kind of dumb, but irrational literally means the square root of 2. It goes on forever. It never has ended nor started. It's endless, and that's the spiritual side of all of us. It's in us, and this is just one pattern we're in now.
So another piece of that, because that's all falling into place in my brain, is 100 great books. So or the 100 great books. So you go to St. John's
College,
in Annapolis and Santa Fe. There's 100 great books, and they're all the philosophers' books. When you're, how old were you? Maybe 18, 19, 20, something like that? I
would say, 20-ish, because I already had 2 years of architecture already.
Okay. So you're in your 20s. You've experienced, the ghost in the trees, and you've got this feeling for land, and then you're into what's philosophy. And when you're reading those books, are you consciously seeing how those things came together? Because all of those philosophers must have felt the same thing, correct or not correct?
They're built, if you start with the early Greeks, the next layers all the way up until Carl Jung today, say, we're all growing on top of that. And by the way, you also took all the mathematics. People who never had mathematics start to love it. You spend an entire week, 2 weeks on the first day about geometry. What is a line? Give me a definition. What is a point? We argued for 2 weeks about what is a point.
And
a point is that which has no part. There is no such thing. There is no such thing, but it's all here. But it's here, real. And so you start to philosophize on science, some music, and you're doing the experiments until the point where you understand what's going on today so much better, because it grew from different people. It all grew. And that's the 4th year. You're finally up to date. There's not much in this century except maybe the atom or a few things that is actually new.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the splitting of the atom. Yeah.
And theater is AI. I mean, we're just doing theater again from the Greeks.
Yeah. Isn't it?
About it.
It sounds like, and I'd be love listeners to write in and ask me what they ask questions about this. But it sounds like the worldview that you have gained is so within you that there is everything is just part of a greater spiritual system. And when I say spiritual, physical and metaphoric system. And so there isn't really anything much to worry about. There isn't.
No.
There's a piece within you that just says, "Oh yeah, that's it. It is. It is." And when you've got the view of all the past knowledge, as well as the feeling of walking on the land or lying on the land or whatever, being in the landscape, it's all okay. Everything's.
Yeah. Yeah. And
it may be disturbance here or disturbance here. There's guys burning down a building a day, for the insurance money.
But just think about,
There's shit going on.
think about music. Where does the music come from? Why is it yearn into your system so much, whether it's Beethoven or James Brown? I mean,
we all know why James Brown does, and Barry White.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, man.
But again, why does it touch us and journey us? And then there's context of time and space. But really what you've just told me is there is no real context of time and space. It's just a bit of a construct.
Mm-hmm.
There just is. Otherwise, it just is.
Remember you look up at the sky and you see all the pieces up there of stars.
Yeah.
And they're moving, and you think they're moving, and you're the one moving. You think that there's an infinity, that the Romans said there's a big black dome that we're in, and those little lights are holes in the dome. That's what they thought. And so did some of the Machu Picchu. The Inca thought that way too. But they would not look at the black space, the Inca. They would connect all the dots and form they would not look at that and form the way we do. They would look at the dark space and they would see a reclining puma. And the reclining puma became the metaphor for Machu Picchu.
Right.
And this is all not just stories. It's actually carved in when you get there to Machu Picchu and the Inca world, which was quite big. Within 100 years, it grew to the distance from Madrid to Moscow. That's how big just the Inca is.
As a civilization.
Oh, well, yeah, rough though. Like, you don't think the Spaniards are that bad. It's the Inca, the Aztec, and murderous sons of bitches, to be honest. Right. But very interesting, culturally extraordinary,
Yeah,
extraordinary.
wow. So, with all the different places you've traveled to as well, by the design of your dad's life, and you were on the move, obviously it turned you into an absolute explorer and an adventurer. In each different place, so I have this, anyway, we won't go on about what I have. This piece of different energy in different places. And we talked before about New Mexico, and I think that might have been before we started recording, but we talked about New Mexico and how there is an absolute energy in parts of it. And then there's other parts of the world, and tell me some of the parts you've been where the energy's the same but different. What?
No, yeah. In Greece, to go up to where the goddess was. The goddess. You see things there that stir you. They just stir you. Or I've been to, like, Machu Picchu is one, but there are just so many sacred places in the world where, Nepal especially, oh my God, I saw something there that I saw when I was 16 in a 3-day dream I went into. Years later, I arrived to build a project there with the students from the university about where the Buddha came in his third reincarnation on this mountain outside of Kathmandu. Mm-hmm. And as we sat there, I saw the same. I had a dream about it when I was like 10 years before that, 15 years before that.
Yeah.
And suddenly, with meeting this guy, and then when I get there, this guy who's invited us to come work on a project with him is the guy I saw. Mm. And we just looked at each other. We didn't even go, wow. We just went.
We knew each other. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think of that as I used to think that's mystical. It's kind of scary if you think about it some ways.
Well,
But
only if you want to put that context around
yeah,
it. Otherwise, it's just connectiveness. I know from my own experience of dreams and stuff, deja vu moments, as we say. And I'd be walking, goodness, in parts of New Zealand and certainly
mm,
in Yosemite National Park. And
ooh,
I know what's around the corner, but I've never been around the corner. And I
yeah,
walk around the corner and it's like it I don't know, descends through me. Would be
it's your internal magnet. It's your
yeah,
internal
the
magnet.
same with
Yeah.
Zion National Park. And then I go, well, what about
Mm.
just, an ordinary place? And when I say ordinary, I mean Zion, Yosemite, they are great, amazing spaces. And then I can do the same in New Zealand. There's a number of places where I just know I I don't I don't know, but I know the minute I'm in it, it's like, oh yes, this is the path is already walked. It's already there, and the people as well. Like that same thing, where suddenly it's like, oh, I know this person, but I don't know this person. We've never met,
Mm.
but I
Mhm.
know this person. I know this person. I know what's going to come next from this, and
Yeah, that it's basically time isn't linear. That's
yeah,
it.
yeah, right.
And as a result, you're living in different stages that just don't seem to appear in an everyday going to the mall.
Yeah, it's like shooting
You know?
it's like
Yeah.
shooting a movie or TV, whatever it is. Time isn't linear. We do these shots now and we do those shots then, but if you've got a
Yeah. Well
location,
said.
yeah,
Mm.
if we're going to like a house or something, then we might have that four times in the story. But
But the
they're all at
wholeness is
different
there.
times. Yeah.
The wholeness is there. And it's like a puzzle on the table, and you start putting pieces together because in yourself, you're already you kind of know from the picture on the book that it's going to be that, but you have to find it.
And with those 100 great stories, the philosophers, do they, because I haven't read them, do they all experience that,
Yeah, and growing into it. I mean, even
allowing it?
yeah, I mean, even we had a special chapter on Carl Jung, who
Mhm.
really says all this and makes his compatriot, what's his name, the other psychiatrist, is sort of big name, but he clears it up. He clears it up.
Right.
Everything is irrational and rational, and non-rational. It's just you make a mistake. That's perfectly normal.
Mistakes are okay. I
Yeah, if you
like
don't
that.
stumble, you don't climb.
So I've got another piece that I want to jump back into, which was the Aikido and the martial arts. Did you say before that you have 5 black belts?
Yeah, Tai Chi, Judo. I started Judo in Panama when I was 11. Taekwondo, Aikido, and the 7 elements. It's called. It's just these animals that
Hmm.
come before the Chinese style. So,
Okay.
and I competed sometimes, but I really just like doing it. I like. I think
So,
it's probably because my father was in 3 wars, maybe. I don't know, but I just like it. And I don't like
but
it.
they're a discipline and a dance at the same time, and then they're a
Yeah.
dance like I know my daughter, like she has a black belt in Taekwondo,
Oh, good.
and yeah, and then a friend of mine, Tony in England, he's an Aikido master, and the discipline of practice and the discipline of going beyond what you know of yourself, and that growth piece of that I think is really amazing from martial arts. And
Because
then
it means the way of no way, and it's a very new thing. It's only since the 1900s because it took jujitsu, which was attack and kill,
uh-huh.
you get somebody over there and you put your knee and you break their back. In
Yeah.
Aikido, you move it and they roll out, and that's what you learn to do, is roll and move so that you never hurt, but you never get hurt either.
Right. Yeah. You're always moving away.
Yes, and moving a person to swirl around and fall on themselves.
Yeah.
That is so much harder than fighting.
Yeah,
It's
right.
twice as hard.
It's way harder than it's the dance. My dad was a black belt judo and a brown belt jujitsu.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Jiu-jitsu became judo. Gentle way. Judo means gentle way.
right.
Same as Aikido came from wars. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So that again gives you another you have to be thinking with you're not thinking. Your subconscious mind is working with a greater effect of everything around you. You know, there's conscious decision making. I think of a ballet dancer, and a ballet dancer, you know, the discipline is huge. And then to be able to use that discipline and let go free with it. And the same with so it's a dance there, but then in the martial arts, again, if you can transcend into the spirit side of where that comes from, it is movement with energy. It's the movement of energy. And
almost invisible.
Yeah, exactly. And then we go to the land, and that all that energy sits in the land and the sky and the, you know, whatever else is around it as well. And when we can relax, or I don't even know, relax, just be with it, I suppose, even though there is no time. Like whatever.
That's why you see these guys with the Dalai Lama, and they're out there here.
yeah, that's it, isn't it?
They're the real go-getters, you know. I've been there too, so it's.
So then, I want to ask about. I love the story first of Nixon, and I know that you worked with Jimmy Carter as well. I'm not going to go there yet because Bob Redford just passed from this world to wherever he's gone, or to wherever he's in this world now. Working with Bob, one of my favorite places to go skiing is at his Sundance Resort. And I don't know what the reason is for that, because Provo as a town, I go, yeah, that doesn't do anything for me at all. But when you go up into the canyon there and you're in that piece of land and you're skiing there, there is, again, a different feeling. And whether it's tell me about that and working with him.
Well, but it was mostly because there were other people too. I was very engaged with people interested, and a woman that I met at a meeting was his agent, and she was also who's the other guy? Paul Newman's agent. And how the hell I knew? I was just a little Georgia boy messing around in the ghetto in New York City. But it's one of those places where you start meeting different people. And one of my buddies from St. John's was taking care of a house for the Penny family, so I got to go in there, the J.C. Penney's and people. But at the same time, I'm out in the dark places all the week working, and they were wanting to help, and so that was that, and they were really trying to get into the first environmental movement. How do we achieve more cleanness? And at that point, remember, as I said, I mean, Nixon, all these people were actually the early environmentalists, all came from the Republican Party, not because of what we see today. It was very different then. It was, I want to protect this country and the demos, the people, and the democracy. But remember, we're not a Republican and a Democrat. We are a democratic republic. You can't take the two words apart and say, get rid of that. The demos in Greek just means the common hoi polloi, the people. Right. But there's always got to be leadership. And if you go into Russia, the leadership is just pissant dictators. But with the way we've done it, it's different. And I only say that because that's at that time everybody was engaging in environmental. I mean, Nixon started that way before Jimmy Carter.
And then Jimmy Carter carried it through as well.
Yeah, he carried it through, and he got a lot of things going. One of the things I found most difficult at the time was, though, that he put a lot out there, but he put it into the Department of Energy, which was 90% coal and nuclear people. So they really didn't get that much done. They got a lot spread, built out places, but and Jimmy did the right things. It's just that it wasn't ready for itself because of the bureaucracy. The bureaucracy wasn't. That's one of our biggest dilemmas. Is the bureaucracy's been around for a long time, especially living in DC. So if suddenly AI comes in, I could get rid of about 75% of the people who judge the permit for your building, which takes 6 months, and I could get it done probably in about 6 to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's already there, but I can't get rid of those people. So we are stuck in this tension of seeing this and growing to it. It'll grow. I'm jumping off subject.
I think that's a really interesting point, because one of the things is that we like AI is AI. I go, yep, it is what it is, and it's a tool for us to interact with. One of the things that I see is, there's a lot of fear for people, like what will it replace, what will it do? And I come back to this thing of where a spirit's having a human experience. And I know that sounds really cliched, but we're spirits having a human experience on this planet. And when we bond with other humans, like we're doing this over Zoom, great technology, all the rest. It's nothing like being in the room. Architecture, I can see amazing pictures of architecture. Like I just caught up with Tom Kundig and, his new book. And I'm like looking at his book and I'm going, oh, wow. I can only imagine what those places feel like. That's my construct. I probably haven't developed my astro traveling ability well enough to arrive in somebody's lounge room and experience it the other way. But like in it, I can only experience architecture for how it feels by being in it. And whatever I carry in with me is what I have as well.
And that's it. What you just said is really what I think I learned a lot from Euclid at St. John's, but more I learned it over the years and years of working in architecture, building things, geometry. Okay, the first 2 weeks, what is a point?
Yeah, you said before,
that which has no thing. But then you move to the next thing. 2 points makes a line. Oh, we know they're all invisible. They're all here. Yeah. They don't exist. Then you do 3 and you have the third dimension, a triangle. You do one above, you have a pyramid, which is the fourth dimension. And the fifth dimension is I can see inside and outside and go around it without, and most people can't.
It's an interesting thing. I just watched a thing on dyslexia because I'm dyslexic. And I just watched this thing on dyslexia the other day, and they were saying that the ability for a dyslexic to see everything in 3D is innate. They don't see the world. 10% of the world is dyslexic.
And it's perfectly okay. It just depends on where they are in their karma, shall we say, or their lifespan with Jesus. I'm actually Catholic now. I was Greek Orthodox as a child. But I see the mysticism in it, and it drives me up. But what I wanted to say was, in architecture, back to our one subject that I love, I can see immediately before I sketch or draw, I see the fifth dimension and work backwards. Many architects can't do that. that's why they draft all day what you've imagined. You sketch it in 3, 4th, 5th dimension right away. And that's what they train you, and we train them for, is you're already in that art world of architecture where you see it before you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Your job now is to work it back down to
Practical.
getting it put together. And the joke is always, if an engineer builds a building without an architect, if an architect builds a building without an engineer, it will fall down. But if an engineer builds a building without an architect, an outraged public will come tear it down.
Isn't that the truth?
My best engineer ever told me that joke too. I have to say,
I love it.
Really good.
I love it. I think that this point, it transitions where we can go into the spirit of place, and this. I have names for the processes that I do, and all it is I've put a name around something that kind of sums it up. So one is land whispering, and land whispering has a whole bunch of different pieces, from what's the regulations that lay over the land, those kind of pieces, the practical, what are we going to be dealing with? And then there is the most ideal of build space on that land. And then there is also the piece of where does the energy in that land sit? Like, where's the beautiful energy? Where does the energy, where are you drawn to? Where won't the dogs go because they know it's no good? Where won't the children play, and where will they play, and where is that? And where will we play as adults? Where's our play space? And then how do we construct the space for a home without ruining those other spaces? Because we're going to alter it. How do we integrate with it? So that's land whispering. And then I have another one called emotional floor plan, which I know you're going to talk about from your perspective. I'm all here to learn on this, on both of them, is understanding the human condition for the humans that we're designing for, and their understanding of the place and space, and then their past emotional journeys with space and place, and then their future projected journeys that they want with space and place. So then I always say, the first thing that's going to inform me is the land, and the second thing that's going to inform me is the regulations, because I don't want to spend your money fighting regulations if I can work with them. And the third thing, the third's going to be what that you bring to it as the human that's going to live here and be in this place. And whilst that's the most important, because without you we don't do it, and nobody comes and lives in this space, we want to do that to give you the most I don't want to say easy, because it's not about easy. We want to bring your emotional journey into the architecture and let the architecture respond to you as well as it's responding to the place at the same time. And now I know from the stuff I've watched of you and read, I've given my really kind of brutal, just bang, bang, bang. Take me there. Take me on this journey of spirit of place, and then also understanding the people that are inhabiting the space. And that's why I wanted to dig into the Hopi Indian thing before. Yeah. All those things.
As I often tell a lot of people, say, I never metaphor I didn't like. And there's a twist in that phrase, because you're right. I mean, I've got the technology and I've got the nature. That's all very well done. But it's that spirit. And how do you find, can we in a modern world look at all the ancients? That's why history is so important. At what they sculpted that was spiritual, even the sacrificial Inca. a dead person every 20 seconds. There's a spirit world in that when they're cutting hearts out. There's also the churches, the mosques, the temples, the Dalai Lama house. They're all brought together by a metaphor. And the metaphor is really the spirit of that place. That it's a feeling. It's that way. So we've seen all that in history. And what I started working on very hard over the past 25, 30 years is how do I don't want to copy a church. I don't want to copy a mosque. I don't want a client to just get the same old colony baloney house. And that Mr. Trump's doing is insanity. But I think that, and also they painted it all white, by the way. That Greeks would freak out. There's at least 40 colors in the Greek history and the Roman history. What the fuck? So, but anyway.
That's a soundbite if there ever was. What the fuck?
I sent a note to him about it with pictures. But the thing I want to get to, the metaphor is so important. Like I'm sitting down with the client, and one of the houses we did, which is right here in Washington, next to the cathedral, in a historic district. I had to go get total permission. When I did my house, I had to get permission because I'm on Rock Creek Park. Yeah, and that usually takes 3, 6, 9 months with these committees, right? So I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking if I can't build the thing I want on this cliff I live on now, in this hanging house that's hanging by friction and gravity only, I'm out of here. I'm headed west again. And so I went to the committee. Carter Brown was in charge. He's Brown University. He's a genius. He brought the East Wing, the West Wing. He's really a genius. But they have a committee, and they're all sitting there. And I walk in with this model that and all these other architects in line, and people are looking at me and they're saying, "What the fuck? What's wrong with Travis? He's cut, Yeah,
he's done himself."
Yeah, because I just walked in and I looked at it, and they were looking at it, the committee, and they're going, and Carter Brown's looking. I said, I was in Bhaktipur outside of Kathmandu, and I was watching a guru sitting in a position with all of his face, looking at a tree coming out of a sacred rock, and his whole life. That's all he did is watch that tree in the rock day and night. And I went, whoa, what is that planet? And so when I designed this house, I simply said I had a metaphor of seeing a tree come out of a rock, because there's a tree here coming out of a rock. So this is my treehouse of rock. Thank you. Usually you're supposed to sit there and go through all this stuff. I just put the model down in about 20 seconds and said, that's what this is. And everybody's going like, oh, geez, Trav's cooked, blah, 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 blah. And Carter Brown just stood up. He walked over and he went, I went, okay, I'm out of here, and he said, Bhaktipur, yes. I think the rest of you will agree with me that we fully approve. Thank you. And boom, I was out in 28 seconds instead of 28 weeks. Wow. And no changes. Wow. He said at the very end, I'm walking out, I'm just thinking, holy, holy, holy.
Did that just happen? Yeah.
It worked. And I knew I was going to go all the way. There was no 99%. It's all or nothing. And that's when you jump and the net appears. So he said, wait, I have one question. I went, oh, here it comes, you fucking bureaucrats. and I said, yes, Mr. Yeah, he said, I have one concern. And I said, yes, what is it? He says, can we all come to the party?
No way.
Oh man, did I feel good. And we built her up. And
that is, like, yeah, well, I mean, it's a reality as well. It's beyond it's the story of, I suppose, belief and the purity of it. I was talking to Marlon Blackwell, and I said to Marlon something about, tell me, Marlon, what is it all at the end of the day? And he said, it's the edit. And I'm like, and he goes, well, that's all that's left that we get to see. And every time I draw something, I go, well, have I edited it hard enough yet? And is it still the essence of what it is? And then I was talking to, oh goodness, I can't think of his name. Anyway, he's in Japan. He's not Japanese, but he's in Japan. And he was saying to me, one of his professors said to him at one point, his name's Mark, I'm trying to think of his surname, Dythan Klein, Mark Dythan. And he says one of his professors said to him, he was explaining, like in a crit, he was explaining what he was doing. And his professor said, Mark, the building needs to speak for itself. You can't stand outside all day telling people what the building's about, man. It needs to speak clearly for itself in its space.
Yeah. And that's exactly why it's so powerful in Australia, the opera house.
Oh,
this guy was from Finland or Scott.
Yeah.
And I've been to Finland a lot, by the way. Spirit of Place has done a major project there that I did. I'll tell you about it. But what he did is he just never said, no, I'm not. It's done. If you're going to play the music,
yep. That's it.
You got to play the music. Yep. And that's
and
how
you create something so iconic from it. It fascinates me, that whole, it's like you said, the musician, I think, you're operating from just an art form without really any ego attached to it. But there's enough ego to control how it comes out. You give up to the spirit of your thinking. Yeah.
And where that comes from is a much bigger, long discussion like we had earlier about, his time existing and all that. But if you just go ahead and jump, the
net will get you.
It will appear. It's an old Buddhist phrase. Jump and the net will appear.
I wrote that down. I've got that as a note on my pad. One of the beautiful gems about doing the podcast is there is nobody that I interview that doesn't leave me with a gem of a line. And I've got about a dozen here so far from you. But that whole thing of, that's trust. It's trust, and it's trust to be not bold, but to move. And that might be bold, but it's not about being seen to move. It's just about keeping moving. It's about being with your space and in the place. And I went and studied switching on my alpha brainwaves. I don't know whether you know the Silva method, Jose Silva, and that to me has been one of the most incredible pieces of slowing down the monkey mind I have, to consciously turn on my alpha brainwaves. And I do it when I'm land whispering, but I do it when I'm with clients. I want the nuances. I'm looking for the edges where the energy is versus the big blocks in the middle. And that's what I suppose creates so much curiosity and lights up so much of how
and if you think of all the things that are discoveries, small and big, some we don't even know, this is how it works. And for me, one of the most enjoyable things was not just doing my own work, but I was suddenly went over to Catholic University because I always, in my entire career, I've always taught one course a year at some university because about something I don't know.
Right. You have to learn it to teach it.
Exactly. But you learn with once again, you're Socratic. You're not just checking it off. So that's been I would say almost 30, 40 years, because I started in New York City. And when I was working there, I went over to Press, I can't remember the name, and I taught one course on solar stuff, and I got here and I taught some stuff at University of Maryland. And one day I walked into Catholic University just out of curiosity, which is dead center here. And the dean is an atheist Jew, Stanley Hallett. Didn't know it then, just Stanley was a cool guy. And I started talking about solar stuff and this. And I said, but also I have this really good friend named Wade Davis The Serpent and the Rainbow. Did you ever see that movie or read it, the book? It's about Buddha and Haiti. It was his PhD thesis at Harvard. You gotta watch the movie and you gotta read the book.
Serpent
It's the real thing.
and Rainbow.
The Serpent and the Rainbow. And I could go on because Wade and Kristen here, we're called the three amigos of the National Geographic because we go around the world privately together with these big jets and to show people stuff. But another story. But I want to tell you that I got into this whole idea of going someplace out, teaching the kids how to go someplace in a studio once a week, about a place that we're going to go to and build something in the summer. Mm-hmm. And it started with Wade Davis way up in northern Canada. I mean, tribes up there that are still, the chief was 103 and he has a cabin there. But it ended up being simple. And of course, the dean said, do it. So I signed up a lecture with Wade, and we thought we'd get 8, 9 students. 112 students signed up.
Wow.
So we had to push it down to 9, or 10. I said 5 of the ugliest guys and 5 of the smartest girls. Just displaying my liberalism that I'm not really aware of. So we got it, and the whole idea was, and now you'll see the book I wrote, the Archaeology of Tomorrow, is it's I find a place, or it finds me. Mm-hmm. And we've done 25 of these, one a year. It's in a semester. The first month, the 20 students roughly have to write a poem about the project. They have to research where we're going and why we're doing what we're doing. And they're not going to build individually. They're going to build together. So they have to write a poem. So it comes the end of the month. I call it Kissing Cousins Night. That's a Southern thing. And we're all together. And we have to put them all on the wall. I'm sure that's
almost as appropriate as how you choose your people.
It goes perfect with the Catholic University.
I was about to say it's right down their line.
Exactly. You're walking out of the Mass and the Pope and the guy kisses you. It's okay,
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Meanwhile, the dean is Jewish and and doesn't believe in that. So, but it was the best thing ever. Stanley Hallett is a god as a professor, and so anyway, then they have to merge that poem into one poem that night before they leave, and it's called Kissing Cousins because it's not that you're competing. You're compiling together and that I'd never seen before. I just thought that's what's got to be, because the next month you have to design a sculpture, not a building, a sculpture that when you look at it, you feel our shared poem. Then we did Kissing Cousins Night. They got to merge all their sculptures into one sculpture because that's going to teach us the spirit of it's going to give us a form. And the last month, they have to design the actual project within a certain range of size because we're going to build it. And then we merge that. And then we have an extra week and a half where we build the model, get everything ready. And I start I've already been organizing a year or two in advance where we're going and they're going to buy materials. And there's been 25 of those. And we go in June, and being Captain Bry, as I am, we're going to build this in 9 days, guys. And 9 days, everything was built for 25 each year. And you'll be blown away when you see how big rocks and giant things. We use local people that are in the village to help, and we got the materials from them. The students paid their way to get there, and I got paid a fantastic $3,000 for this.
Wow.
From the university.
Yeah.
But that's bullshit.
Yeah.
But it was so beautiful.
So you're flying high with your $3,000.
Yeah. Jesus, I'm coming, Jesus.
Yeah. and I'm cashed up.
I'm ready, Jesus. But anyway, it's been when you look at that book and you look at that website, The Spirit of Place, amazing. And they won 5 AIA American Student Architect Awards for them. They're first class built projects. The Amazon floating house, In Kathmandu, where Buddha came in the third reincarnation on a mountain. These places are amazing. They just come to me. They just flowed in. And once it got busy, oh God,
I've got somebody I'm going to
Ireland.
introduce
Oh,
you to.
Ireland, Western Ireland. Oh, geez. How are you talking now? I mean, you talk about mysticism, man. You go to County Mayo or the wild side west, and wow, I saw things there. Anyway, that's the summary of how that whole story started.
So if people want to be take part in any of that stuff from Spirit of Place, what do they do? How does that happen?
Well, they're in the school usually, and they go. It's pretty hard to teach it. I did get SCAD, the South Carolina group, in sometimes. They're really great schools, but it really burned I was doing this pretty much gratis. I mean, to get paid a nominal amount, but it taught me a lot about what I'm doing in my own building. I now go into the client deep and metaphorically, and I see something. This couple, they're arguing all the freaking time, and they're doing this with their hands, And I could not get them to agree or say. I said, "Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. The house is going to be this shape." Those hands, and it was built, and it was beautiful.
And what did it do what does it do for their relationship?
It calmed them down. They had their own two halves. They
were both held. Yeah.
And the reason I was so happy, about a year and a half after they were in, everything was good. Their daughter was going to have a wedding, and I wrote a poem about the house. I always write poems about the house in books and stuff. And the father got up to open the speech to the big party, and he said, "I'm going to read a poem from Travis about our house." And that poem pulled the two couple, the wife, the bride, and the groom together.
Yeah.
Boom.
Wow. So
story.
This thing about writing a poem, years ago, my kids, both my girls, they went to Montessori as a school. That's where they started their schooling. And well, actually, my eldest daughter, her first school ever in France. I was traveling and working in France and the UK and Germany, and training people in innovation and systematic innovation thinking, and working with clients like Airbus and Bombardier and people like that. Anyway, long story short, her first place was a little village in France where we had to go to the mairie and ask for permission for her to go to school there. And so they didn't really speak any English, and she didn't really speak any French. Well, she definitely didn't speak any French. And we would drop her off each morning, and her name's Paris, named after the city. And we would drop her off each morning, and she made this one friend at the school who, I suppose, she struggled through with lack of English, and Paris struggled through with lack of French, but they connected. And then she was going to parties or birthday parties and stuff like that. But then from that, when we came back to Australia, we enrolled her in Montessori school. She got one semester in public school and then into Montessori school, and she stayed there right until she left school. So 17 or something when she left school. And then my younger daughter, she really only ever knew Montessori, and now she's finishing her schooling outside of Montessori. She's just about finished. But with that, we had a school farm. So the school used to be in one spot, and then it moved, and it bought a piece of land that they created a school farm on. And there was an architect, and I can't remember his name, but a local architect who got to design the building they call the roundhouse. And the roundhouse is for the very young ones. And it looks inward, not outward. It's all about inward and the security of inward. And it's a beautiful big courtyard in the middle. And I remember going to listen to him talk about this particular building. And he said, how he had started with a poem. And then when I started doing the little bit of research on you, I'm like, I bet you your paths or your influence has crossed his influence at some point. But he started with a poem, and with that poem decided how he would bring that building together and in its place. And then the
Yes,
other
and that's
other
that's the
buildings are
fifth
separate.
dimension. Once again, you're in the fifth dimension, you see.
Yeah.
And for me, I wanted to create a philosophy that other architects would follow. That's what I was teaching, because I do think this is the future that Gaudi did or other people did, that it's not copying the past. It's transcending into something that's as deep as the past, but in the next realm. That's the gift.
Using the knowledge of the giants from the past to stand on to create the next realm of what we do. You know, like that. And I think that's fascinating. I reckon that I can share some pictures, and I'm going to see if I can.
You see Kelly next to me?
I do.
Yeah, that's her. That time was her boyfriend. Now they're married with 3 kids.
Ah, how fabulous, eh?
Yeah.
One of the things that's interesting, I meet Kelly, a couple of emails, and then I meet her online. And if you think that, I've probably recorded close to 400 podcasts. There's years of, I started this in the year 2000, and there's the unpublished ones and there's the published ones. There's quite a few that I've never published as well. And that with that, like you make these connections with people. And so I have this broad band of people around the world, a lot of them in the US, but a broad band of people around the world that some of them I have, memories of, and, like they made maybe some kind of impact. And then there's other people that I meet that I go, oh, hold on. This one's a lifer, this one shifts me. And and talking to Kelly was like that, was like one of these things where I went, oh, her personal spirit and energy is magical. It's very special. Exactly. Yeah. And
she is a special. There's no getting around it.
She is she's like, there is magic in her. And you go, oh, when you meet these people, I go, well, I've had a little taste of who she is. Now I need to be in her presence to really feel who she is. And that's like, I love that piece about it. So then what I do is I go, okay, cool. I'm going to be in America at this time, or I'm going to be in England at this time, or I'm going to be in New Zealand or in Australia or in this town. And then I go, I'm coming to visit, and I like to go and spend time with, the person. And so I've got friends in Texas that I'll go and just sneak onto the corner of a desk and do a day's work of my work, but in their environment, and just be in the spirit of where they are, and experience them at their work, at their space. It's really special. I just did it in Mexico City with 3 different big architectural firms there, and just got to take a small group of people with me, and we got to just spend time in their studios and feel them and see how the engine of it works. But they're very, so we get that feeling of the depth of connection, and it's a bit like being, like I was saying, in the sea. They are you are them, and there's some transmutation between that.
Yes, it's a team. It's a team, really.
Yeah,
with different players at different stage, at different locations, and
it's the most incredible thing. So is this the office, and you've buried them in a hole?
Yes, it was a toilet, and no, no, that's in Ireland. Actually, it's a there's a much bigger picture of the whole project. This is just a piece of it. All saying
Right.
goodbye, but it sits on a place where everyone left during the
The famine,
famine.
the
Yeah,
potato
and
famine.
literally, we made a place to sit under a glass wall with stone and a whole bunch of other stuff around it. I didn't send everything. If you go to the spirit of place, you'll see the rest of it.
Okay.
But we built that in 9 days. You should see how much is there. And but it was a place where people go to sort of wave and hope that they'll be back from America one day.
Yeah. Awesome.
It was a tragic period, needless to say. But it was also very beautiful to sit there, and then people had dances, and every place we did in Ireland is something that's amazingly deep.
Because
stuff
that's awesome. That's awesome.
they're always poets. I mean, they're in another world.
I'm having a virtual love affair with a poet from Ireland, and she starts her Instagram every day with morning writing, and I often put it on my stories.
Nice,
and
nice.
I wake up and like I've got my little routine for the morning, but she is now dropping into that routine, and she has this lyrical sing-songy voice that I don't know.
And the humor.
She starts off with some of the, like
it's at least 2 beers and some poutine, and then at least 3 or 4 songs, jokes, and then we can talk.
Yeah, absolutely. The crack is always good, as they say. So tell me, this house here, that's up on the screen now. We've got this amazing wing-styled roof. I've actually seen these pictures, or not this picture, but pictures of this house before. But take us through what this house is about from this picture. I was just recently, like on the weekend, I was with Tom Kundig, and he was doing a talk. And when he was doing this talk, he was saying, often we take photos of architecture like this. We're showing a piece of a building, but to actually see the building from way back, or the progression of discovering the building in the landscape, he goes, that isn't what architectural photography is about, but it is about when you go to the place. You go through, you transition, and then the place forms, and it sits within its space. And I was like, it's so true. We see this, and it's beautiful. But what inspired it?
We have a dozen other pictures too. I didn't know what to send.
No, this is cool.
Yeah, and then but I mean, from coming off the road, walking down, the cars are parked separately. But one of the first things they wanted was that he has a big office at home, and so we split the house in half. So you come down this long walk. You don't even see the pieces are coming down. So you just see sky out of this silver metal and just some stone and glass. You don't even know it's a house. And you walk all the way out to that end, and you're looking down at the Potomac River, 6 miles left and right.
Yeah.
And it's the most beautiful setting. There's the sunset. But those big angles, and why they're flying, is because in the winter, that angle is exactly all the sunlight that you get during the December, right directly. So it's all passive solar, super warm, lit up like a fire engine.
Yeah, right.
And then in the summer, it shades not only the glass of the house, it shades the outside sitting on the patios. And we split it because he wanted to have one side for his office and some stuff downstairs, and they have the rest of the house is just fantastic inside. They're all looking out, and those little points that are going up. It wasn't how much weight to lift; it was how much to pull down so it wouldn't fly in a hurricane. Right? Because that's like wings ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a spoiler on the back of on the back of a Formula One car. It's about holding it down, not about flying it away.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So they're characters too. Yeah. This one. Yeah.
So tell me about this house. This beautiful light
It's right.
column.
It's right in the middle of DC on the edge of Rock Creek Park, which is a gigantic forest.
Uh-huh.
And but the front of it was just this little cubby thing from something like Scotland 200 years ago. Their house, he's Laura, she's a very famous author, and books. And she, but they wanted to make a whole other house. So I didn't send the front of it, but it's all restored. It looks like Hansel and Gretel,
Uh-huh.
and you walk through and then boom, on the back, there's this living room down the lower left. There's this tower is the stairwells,
Uh-huh.
and the cowl wall is translucent insulated material. I use it a lot. It's been around for 70 years. It's actually insulation, but it lets the clear light go right through it.
So is it like a polycarbonate or a...
It's a stairwell that goes up and down, up and down, up and down, and you get off at each level. One is her studio, the other is the living room, the other is the bedrooms down below. And it lights up at night because it's luminous. It's translucent.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, and she writes up there. They love it. It's right in the middle of DC. Yeah.
Right, right in DC.
Yeah, like I am. I am 15 minutes from the White House. Yeah.
I'm sure at the White House they say Travis is just 15 minutes down the road.
No, they say he's a priceless travesty.
Yeah. do you know Glenn Murcutt, the Australian architect he's the only Pritzker Prize winner in Australia. So Glenn is listed as a national treasure in Australia. And so his work, whatever he draws, becomes the copyright of the
That's cool.
National Museum or National Gallery, whatever it is.
Lucky guy.
Yeah, I mean, he deserves it. It's like this incredible thing.
Yeah.
But he is a national treasure because of his services to how people live, basically, and how people, public buildings and the thought.
And it's really important how we're moving into a modern world where steel, which I always tell people, stainless steel is just rocks and fire put together.
I heard that in your thing, and I'm like, isn't that the truth? Like you look at iron ore coming out of the ground, it's just rocks, and it's just got a higher mineral content, and then that gets refined down to being, like you say, stainless steel.
Even plastic, there ain't nothing that isn't natural. Get over it.
Yeah, right. It's what we do to it that whether we can undo is probably the bigger picture. So this here is an office.
That's where I'm sitting.
That's where you are right now. This is your office.
Yeah. We were in Georgetown we had a lot of people, but during COVID, it didn't bother us really. Nobody got sick. I went to Italy 4 times. But the thing is, I had the house and I had a lower level that was kind of like a play area. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, now that we're going computer, let's move down. So this is the lowest level of the house. I'm in the treehouse.
Yeah.
And there's a spiral stair, spinning stair that goes all the way up to the 4th floor, which is a glass cube that I sleep in at night on the roof. But
of course,
this is the room I'm in, and then there's next to me are 4 other seats in the other room. Yeah, and that's how you work. We have big screens, and we're sort of, we don't build the models anymore, which is very messy. We create them on 3D and 4D dimensions. So all that. So that's where I'm sitting, and it was snowing like hell this winter. So it was kind of a cool.
How beautiful.
We had like 2 feet. Yeah. And there's the cliff. It goes way down. If you stepped out there, you'd be sliding. You can't
stop yourself. Right.
Yeah. The whole house is hanging by cables too. They're just 2 columns touching the ground.
Kelly talked about that, about the tree house and the fact that it's like hanging by 2 cables. And again, that's an engineering feat. So if you go back and listen to Kelly's podcast, You
Oh, I
will,
will. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the listeners go back and listen, and she'll talk about that, about
Good.
Travis creating it. What's this one?
Okay. There's another picture of a old historic library.
There we go.
Yeah.
That one.
That's St. John's College I was telling you about. And on the left is the House of Records. It's been there since the late 1700s. And St. John's got it and turned it into their library. And then they were way under what they needed. And actually, well, let's put it this way. Their inside, it was 8 stories of storage for the stuff. The outside was historic. So I said, well, okay, we're going to add a big wing underground. So, and then we're going to add the stairwell that you were at in the last picture that goes up and down the whole building when you walk in. And there's tons of metaphors in this because I took Euclid, Copernicus, and Kepler, the 3 great. Sorry, I'm getting tired now. Yeah. The great people on the stars and moons and stuff. That anyway.
Oh, right. So, yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. Ptolemy, Copernicus, and Kepler. Ptolemy was the first, and then Copernicus. You study all that at St. John's too, so everybody knows it. And then, so I did this thing that combined them all together like a piece of jazz, and it's a center court now, which people love when they go in, and each of those little light things that shoot up are the warriors of the Greeks,
right?
And in the other. And there's just tons of little things I did, little details on you can't see them in this shot, but as you come up the stairs, there's an S, a J, and a C, but people don't realize it. St. John's College. And then if you go back to the other picture, it's the outside and underground is huge. And those big silver fins out there are the swords of the Spartans. Because you do read about all that, Euclid
So building the mythology and the philosophy into the building, making it of its place, the discovery of it. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, that was like 1995, sorry.
Yeah,
it's been around a while. Wow. I'm giving a big lecture there next year too, which will be fun. Yeah.
Send us the date so that people can yeah. Well,
this is a getaway house in West Virginia.
Yeah, there comes that southern accent.
But they were 2 Yankees. They were kind of not pleasant, shall we say? And then, what was it like? Don't bother to rise. I was just passing through. So
is that a southern thing? Don't bother to rise.
Yeah. It's when a woman is pissed off with her. It's when a woman's pissed off with her husband. You know.
Right, she would say that. Don't bother to rise.
Yes, yeah. She's coming out of the kitchen. He's eating, and she says, "Don't bother to rise. I was just passing through."
I love that. That's so good.
Peaches.
Yeah,
peaches.
What's
cool about this is inside is outside.
Yeah,
and that's what they wanted. They wanted to be in the forest, but they also wanted to be in a house. And so the lyrics there were, we kept the trees, made a whole thing. Everything is on columns, so nothing's hurting the roots. And we put glass cubes around it, so the tree just keeps growing right through the house. There's 2 or 3 of these big monsters. And then outside is a huge covered deck. So you spend most of your time outside, but when you're inside in the winter, there's a big fireplace. And all those you see on the top of the glass, we have these insulated curtains that are about 6 inches thick that unfold.
Oh, right.
And so the whole house insulates in the winter by cloth, which is dead air. And dead air is what insulation is.
Yeah. Wow.
Very cool.
It's a fabulous, I mean, I've seen this project published in different places, and it's one of those projects that's so inspiring. I know it certainly has inspired me and stuff I've done. We have a thing with our insurance that with our house insurance that tells us we have to map any trees that are within X amount of space from our roof, and they'll insure us accordingly. So something like this would have there would be like, well, you know, like it's going to cost you more because a branch could come down on your house, and blah blah blah.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
I've used this idea, not exactly the same, but with courtyarding in, a bit like the one on the right-hand side of the picture there, where it comes into the house, and we've got the tree piece in there, and I'm just doing a wellness center for a couple within their home, and in it. We've got a sauna, and in the sauna, I actually have a tree, but the Japanese style, where the tree's already long dead and it's dried, and
Right.
we will put a post behind it, but it will become the actual
Nice.
tree will be standing in the sauna, so that you can hold on to it to climb up onto the top bench or steady yourself to get down, any of those things. Yeah, so again, just playing with these pieces of nature back into the space. And I also have one of the benches in the sauna is the end of it is sitting on a granite boulder. So the granite boulder comes in, which will heat sink, although it's at the ground level, so it won't get overly hot. But then that granite boulder will be in that space as well, so that it's really earthing it while you're in the hot rock sauna. But yeah, this is the kind of inspiration that is I find is like
Yeah, we use plywood a lot. That's beautiful. There's a guest room at the other end,
yeah.
and there are two trees there that are split. There's two trees down. There are two rivers below it that cross. So the twin house sort of came out of what was nature there, and then the idea metaphorically was your inside is out and your outside is in.
Yeah.
The whole old Beatles song, really.
Again, this picture takes you on a journey, and there's that long lineal shape of it sitting in there, letting all the woods and stuff happen above it, and then all the ground plane happen in front of it. It's stunning. I mean, if you're not on YouTube having a look at these, go to our YouTube channel and have a look. Yeah. And this is obviously you in a hole or up by some stairs.
Yeah, this is about 15, 20 years ago, but I dyed my hair gray now, so
yeah, just so that you fit with the rocks in the landscape. This is you obviously
working.
Yeah.
Teaching and working on a model idea. This was at the office, and I was reviewing some of the some ideas we had for a tower. Or eventually, and the Washington D.C. Had me taking photographs of me playing with stuff.
Right.
There's an old Hopi ring around my finger.
We haven't around your wrist. We haven't told that. We haven't told the story yet of your finger. We need to do that. This is you, Aikido.
I just married the Aussie. She was there, and I got the yellow bus from the people who had the tower that you just saw.
Yeah,
and and we were going around for the wedding and all that with it. And so I just for kicks thought, this is too good. I'll just put on my Aikido stuff and do a photo. It's just for kicks.
It's fabulous. It's fabulous.
Yeah, it's a nice sword.
It is. It's like and it's I think, again, with martial arts is the fact of the discipline. Clearly, this is you dressed up. You're either going to court or
you're going down to meet the president.
Exactly. Go down and have some.
We're going to meet at McDonald's. We're going to meet at McDonald's.
Have some iced tea. This is the treehouse.
Yeah, that's where I'm sitting. I'm literally at the left side of that's me staring down right now in the other room. But there's the tree coming out of the rock. It's a great shot. And then this side's all glass, whereas the other side's all copper, because this is facing south, and I have all the shades. And it's really a nice.
And then this is the bank or the cliff that just drops away.
Yeah, it's all rock too. So everything we drilled into is forever because it's rock. And if you see that little red thing on the left side,
Yep.
5,000 pounds on that one and the other one, and it's hanging by rods in case the massive all-kill hurricane ever came this way. That would steady it from flipping back. It was just enough energy that my engineer said you need some more weight to. So I just said, we'll make big,
we'll put some weight rock there. Yeah, wow.
There's the front. So you walk up, you take these very slow steps down to calm you. Then you cross the glass bridge of fear and trepidation, and the door slides open. And the tree is going up on that side as well. And now you see the two columns and the cables. And the rooftop bedroom with it's really inside really fantastic because sometimes it's 24 feet high, a 2-story living. I mean, I lost a lot of space because I wanted more space. I mean, like rooms but it's 3 bedrooms. It's everything a family needs. So
I can't wait to visit. I'm excited about visiting it.
And the thing, in 15 or 20 minutes, I can be in the center of DC, and yet I'm in the forest, and I can walk up to the metro from here. Yeah.
How crazy is that, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I have a last question. Or I could have 100 last questions.
Well, yeah, anytime.
But I'm going to ask this question. It's something from my emotional floor plan, and look, there's so many more things that I could talk about, but I want to ask this question of you. So your favorite place in your own home, being the treehouse, your favorite place is where?
That's a good question, Well, it's not the toilet. It's that would be where Kelly goes.
Yeah.
You can tell her I said that.
She'll know. She'll hear it. Yeah.
I know. She's already heard it. She can see one eyebrow of mine and go, okay, what did you say? She's a great gal. It's like I never had a sister,
Yeah.
But so that's a good question. I think
over any other space, it's your favorite.
I think the favorite, my favorite space is the living room.
Mm-hmm.
And why? Because I can see up 24 feet high. I can see full to the right, full to the left. The kitchen actually strings along there. And I have a nice little dining area that's separate, but that's home to me. I could live in that living room without everything else. I mean, I could go out and pee off the balcony if I don't have a toilet. But I could.
It's not the peeing. It's not the peeing.
It's when everything goes out and everything goes up. Because it's a lot of 24 feet is a long.
Yeah, it's a
thing,
long
but
way.
It's just I feel like I am now Tarzan.
I love that.
Yeah.
So then, give me one emotional word that sums up that space of how it makes you feel. What's the emotional word of how you feel in that space?
Heaven.
Heaven?
That's really what I feel like. Yeah, I feel like I'm floating in heaven.
Mm.
I'm in the treehouse finally that I always had when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
There's something centered about. I feel centered in the whole thing has lots of ideas, but that's the center core. Fireplace with glass all around it, just everything is made there to sit and talk forever, read. I don't have any TVs except one up in a room that's for its own sake to go watch the news or something or a movie, but I don't allow any of that in the last thing you want is to bring the digit world into the natural world when you have something like this.
Yeah. Why would you confuse them?
Yeah.
When I could preempt this, but I'm not going to. So when you're in heaven and you're in that centered core, who do you become that you're not now?
Hmm. Boy, good question. My only granddaughter was killed 2 years ago, and then I talk to her every day in heaven.
Oh, well.
She was killed by some idiots driving a boat and ran into her in the water. Michaela.
Mm.
So I say that only because every day I transcendentally pray, and she always comes with Mother Mary and hugs me.
That's so beautiful.
And for real, not imagining. And so, what's the question again? Because I lost myself in that.
Oh man, that's perfect. Who do you become that you're not now?
Well, I think I become.
Well, you just
I become the rest of me.
yeah, you become whole.
Yeah, I feel like I'm there. I don't feel like there is a there. I feel like we're all in it already, and we're just in one phase of it now. It's really how I see the things, and I hear the voices, and I feel it. So I think I would say, what's the one word about being in heaven? Here.
Yeah, right. So when you're creating, like you created this space for yourself, and you create it within an intention, and that intention maybe didn't encompass all those pieces. You didn't know that it was going to be heaven. You didn't know that it was going to be that.
I think you're really onto something, because all those little short metaphors, almost like haiku, that's what people feel who don't know the house and come into it. And the people of the house feel like they're finally at heaven and home at the same time.
I think it's when we're designing for people, and when the architecture is responding to the space or to the place, and then what we're going back to, like Marlon Blackwell, what we're going to edit it down to is how they will live with it and in it and around it. And when we know, like if I was to design a home for you, I would be going, what does heaven look like to you? Once I found this out, what does heaven look like to you? Because we know how it makes you feel, and we know how it allows you to be. And you started with it's like a central piece, and it's got the other pieces off it. So it's the containment of enough for you. You don't need all the other piece. It's a containment of enough for you. And then when you drop into that, it gives you you become here and whole, but then also being able to, meditative prayer, and to be able to be there with your granddaughter. I go, that's the essence of everything in that piece alone, just in that piece. And so making a space that does that, and it's not an intimate space because of the height, and it's not an intimate space because of all the view, but it's an intimate space because it holds you, and that's the size that maybe is enough to hold you.
It holds me in a green universe of trees.
Yeah. I love to do this in a kind of a room by room basis, and we'd go way deeper, obviously, but I don't know that we could go much deeper than your granddaughter. It gives me goosebumps, but it also makes me want to cry. Like it brings all the emotion to the top. And
the cries of joy. She's there.
You're with her.
Gone.
Yeah. She's not gone.
Yeah.
That's it. It's not a loss. It's another dimension.
Yeah. And and it's also a place where 10 years ago, Mother Mary appeared inside the house. I mean,
right.
It blew my socks off because it was real. And I imagine enough as a job already. I knew I wasn't imagining that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a very spiritual spot.
Yeah. I have a little shrine for Michaela down there. I'm looking right at it now through my glass table and my glass wall.
Yeah.
And I also in the middle of a very interesting city, and forest, and what can I say? My son's here. One of my brothers is here. So
how beautiful! How beautiful!
Yeah, it's just that damn woman I married from Australia.
She's not there. She's not there.
Bitch Dawn.
She's not there. You're all good.
You might say that's demonic, but then the devil is.
Life has its purpose.
Yeah, she just couldn't take it, and she went back. Her mother actually pulled her, and her mother was a real.
Yeah, right.
It's like he comes here or you come here.
Yeah, right. I think there's a lot to be said for mother-in-laws. And probably most of it shouldn't be. Most of it shouldn't be.
They should keep it to themselves.
Yeah, a lot to be said by them and for them, and most of those things could be left out. It's like,
exactly. If only they would let them out.
Yeah, exactly. Travis, what a wonderful chat. And
it really is. It's like I don't get to talk to somebody so philosophically like this. This is great.
I think that to me, it certainly fills my heart, and it certainly, I know that there's 1,000 more conversations that we could have like this, and we didn't even really touch on so many pieces. We just touched past them, and there is one more story which I want you to tell, and this is the finger story. And again, it goes back to being in touch with nature and in touch with the knowledge of the past. It is there's a metaphor in it as well, but it's very, very powerful. So please tell us the story of your finger. And I did joke before we recorded that, Travis nearly lost his finger, and I'm like, what were you going to pick your nose with? Like it was this thing. And so, yeah, tell us the story of your finger and how they healed it. Because I think, again, this is a lesson in self.
Yeah, I was taking care of my 2 children alone. The mother had left sometime, so that's hard enough. But I was making French toast, which I'm really good at on a Sunday. And
so Sundays at Travis's house for French toast, just in case you're listening.
It's only $9.95, and so
that's 1,000. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, come on in, y'all. So we and I did you cut your finger, and typically when you're in the middle of something like that, I put it in the water, spike it, and I just kept it under pressure. Finished the food, we ate, went to sleep. Next morning, I don't feel so good. Got the kids off. It was snowing to school, and then by the afternoon, I was almost screaming. I was in so much pain, and called the doctor, and got over to and the next morning got over to the hospital, and the doctor in Baltimore is the top guy. He said, look, I've had that happen before. It's Streptococcus alpha. There's only one way to save your life right now is to cut the finger off because it's going. And I went, you're kidding. I mean, let's talk about this for a few minutes. And suddenly he said, it's fine. You only use these three fingers. You don't use these two fingers. You use these three only.
Yeah.
And you can do everything. And I went, I don't care. And then I looked over at him, the surgeon, and he had a missing finger.
No, he was trying to get yours. Yeah.
So I called my doctor. I said, I'm not quite sure. I have another day or two before I really get sick, according to this, which is happening. And so I called this other doctor who had wanted to be an architect, but he was at another hospital. He said, come on in. There's an old Aztec technique. Let's try it. And we've used it a lot here for this. So I went into a deep surgery where they opened up my chest and put the bone inside because they had to scrape off all the bacterial stuff. And I woke up taped in with the finger. I mean, it was sort of becoming Napoleon for the next month. And I got home and I was fine. I was feeling much better after 2 or 3 days of fevers and stuff. I was okay. And didn't die. You could die within a week. People have, or 4 days.
My father-in-law died not from that, but he died that way.
Yeah. And so I was, thank God, I had picked up the kids and we were able to manage stuff. The only thing I feared about, frankly, was at middle of the night, I hear a phone ring and I go like this to pick it up. Mm-hmm. But that never happened.
Dragging your chest across.
I went back a month later and they did a very quick 2-hour surgery on sleep and pulled the finger out. And I'm looking at a bone that had grown, all the finger had grown back. And the thing that amazed me was the nails came later and so on. How do it know? This is like a Afro-American. How do it know? How did the body know to shape? I could see things growing like when you cut yourself, but how did it know to shape that finger? That is a gene. Yeah, I thought that was really that was a big mystery to me, and it was very spiritual too. But so the finger came back.
I think of Wayne Dyer when you say that, and he goes, he talks about like an apple seed, and he goes, you plant an apple seed, but it apples, man. It grows an apple tree, like it knows what it is. It knows it's just the same piece of flesh and DNA or whatever of the rest of you, but it knows to finger. It knows, like.
Well, I mean, this is getting to be real mystical, spiritual, because when you and your wife wake up the next day, these little tiny things made people.
That's it. Isn't it incredible? Yeah.
It's all down there in the world that is as big as the universe, which is the distance between two atoms.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about earlier too. There is a spiritual cloud in all of this. It's great.
So there, everybody's got the finger story now, and this healing method, and you could be one finger short, like the surgeon, or you could be you now with all your fingers, and the fact of somebody taking a really old method, and God knows how they discovered that, but anyway, whatever. Taking an old method and saving your finger, I think it's wonderful. And
the only embarrassment was I couldn't go to work because it was snowing a lot, so I had to put slip-on shoes and make sure I got a big sweater so I could hold my hand under.
So you could have underneath,
I could get one sweater on.
They all knew who you were because you're wearing the same sweater and shoes for the month or months of time that it took. I love it.
Yeah, and you don't sweat so much in the winter, so you're okay.
Yeah, you're okay. Travis,
great to meet you. Yeah,
oh man, just fantastic. And Washington DC, here we come. I think probably around November, or maybe somewhere around there. I will be there.
Oh, sure. Great! I'm November 18th, my birthday. So,
is it?
If you're ever coming to Washington, there's plenty of guest rooms in the Treehouse, so you're more than
18th.
welcome.
Okay, man. Yeah. That's November 18th. Oh, there could be a celebration.
Whatever.
Yeah, I'm doing
I'm getting younger by the year, so it doesn't
yeah,
really
man.
matter.
That's it. Yeah. Time stands still. There, I'm doing a thing in the end of October with the AIA, Austin, Texas, and
Oh,
then
well, that's right. Yeah.
yeah, and then I'll be coming. I'll be around after that. I'm doing some other stuff, visiting some other people around America. So, yeah.
Well, check out
I'll
that
make the
guy, Wade
plan.
Davis. Wade Davis will rocket ship you. He is amazing. And the other best friend, we're the three amigos at Nat Geo, they call us, is Chris Rainier, as in Mount Rainier,
Mm-hmm.
as in like his great grandfather was Rainier. But he is the best photographer. Ansel Adams, he was Ansel Adams' protege, who does all
Wow.
those beautiful.
Wow.
And he learned all that, but he does cultures of the world. And they have books that he's done, dozens of amazing photographic books.
I'm going to do better than that. I'm going to get you to introduce me to them so we can invite them on the podcast.
I'll send an email to both of them and tell them I just beat their asses in a great interview of a great, and that'll get their egos rising and they'll call you. We love it. I mean, if you notice, in the South, punching each other is the best fun you can have.
I totally get it.
It's a total male thing. Yeah. All righty.
Cool, man.
Great to meet you. It was fun. Great fun to talk.
Thank you for tuning into our conversation. I hope it left you both informed and inspired. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen. And please don't hesitate to share your design thoughts with me. It's always a joy to hear from you. If you're like me and crave a deeper dive into design thinking, coupled with a love for travel and adventure, consider one of my architectural adventures. Join me and some of my wonderful design friends and embark on a journey of a lifetime. Apply for an unforgettable design experience at adrianramsey.com. With our clients spanning the globe, I firmly believe behind every great project are great people. If you're a great person and seeking to turn your dream into a reality, I'd be honored to design your home with you. Why not join the ranks of our exceptional clients and let's make your heart sing? Reach out to me at studio@ardesignhouse.com. That's studio@ardesignhouse.com, and let's get a conversation going and make your heart sing.